All right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking Ohio State on this fine Thursday at noon Eastern time. We've got Steve Hellwagon on the line. Steve joins us on a regular basis from Bucknuts. It's the 247 sports platform for Ohio State football, where he is the senior Big Ten writer. Steve, how you doing this fine day?
Doing great, Mark. What's going on?
Well, you know, it's the off season, and people that don't follow college football, that are friends and family of mine, they wonder what we talk about once the games are over. And it almost seems like there's more to talk about. Coaching changes, this transfer portal's going crazy, of course, recruiting, players moving on to the NFL draft, all of that. We'll focus on the recruiting end. A lot of guys who have signed with Ohio State or are hard commits playing in the All-American Bowl, the Under Armour All-American game as well here in the past week, and showing up rather well.
Yeah, no question about it. You had Garrett Wilson. He played in the All-American Bowl down at San Antonio. He had 2 touchdown catches in that game. They had several other guys in that game, several guys in the Under Armour game. And what's amazing is the Ohio State had an early enrollment date compared to some other colleges. They started class, I believe it was January 7th, a Monday there, 1 or 2 days right after that All-American Bowl. So guys were playing in the All-Star game and then probably that night flying to Columbus so that they could get enrolled in class the next day. So a very hectic time, and obviously the winter semester is now well underway. It's in its 3rd week at Ohio State right now, and obviously they put out that they'll start spring practice in early March, and their spring game will be April the 13th. So there is no rest for these guys. They've got 7 early enrollees at Ohio State, and it's some of their top prospects in this 2019 class, including Zach Harrison, the big-time defensive end from right here in Columbus at Orange High School, Garrett Wilson, who we talked about, Marcus Crowley from Jacksonville, Florida. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Florida as a running back. Ronnie Hickman, a safety from Wayne, New Jersey. And then 2 guys from Mentor High School in the Cleveland area, Ryan Jacoby. He's an offensive lineman. And Noah Potter, he's a defensive end. Those 2 guys also enrolled early at Ohio State. So those guys will be going through spring practice, and sometimes that can cut both ways. It gives those freshmen a chance to get to know the coaches and also earn a spot in the 2 deep perhaps. But the thing that also kind of cuts is you have high school athletes out there basically competing against grown men and college kids. And there's been a propensity sometimes for some of these younger kids to get hurt in full contact drills during the spring when they enroll a little bit early. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys mix in as they get into spring football coming up really within about another 5 or 6 weeks. They'll be getting the helmets and the shoulder pads back out at Ohio State.
Yeah, people that don't follow college football figure these guys hit the practice field a few weeks before the first game and then play the 12 games and then a bowl game, and then that's it. But obviously football, even into the high school and junior high ranks, is becoming a full-time job for these guys that want to pursue it to that degree. Of course, Steve works for 247 Sports. That's the standard when it comes to college football, high school football recruiting as these kids prepare for college. And I notice a couple of Buckeyes that have signed letters of intent. Harry Miller, highly regarded center, and also Jamison Williams. These guys are really vaulting in the rankings. And I think you guys just released your final player rankings, and these guys took a good 15 to 25 spot leap.
Yeah, a couple of the guys in the class moved up. A couple of them, Zach Harrison in particular, he moved down probably 15 or 20 spots. And again, I think it's interesting to note, this is strictly what the 24/7 sports experts led by Barton Simmons, Steve Wiltfong, and several others, what they've seen with these guys. And the way that they like to say this, if you're a 5-star guy on their list, they view you in 3 or 4 years as a potential NFL first-round draft pick. So even though Harrison may have moved down a little bit, Garrett Wilson is like 29 or 28 on their list, they still view those guys as first-round NFL draft picks. They're 5-star prospects. So I don't think it's anything to get too excited about one way or the other. I think we have seen cases in the past, obviously, of 5-star guys who just for whatever reason never worked out. And we've also seen 3-star guys who become All-Americans and go on to NFL careers. So I think it's kind of like the stock market. Past performance is no indication of what future returns will be, but it is what it is. They say at 24/7 Sports, they take into account, you go back to last summer, you have the opening, the big camp they have out at Nike in July, the opening, the Elite 11 for quarterbacks, how you performed on the field as a senior, the caliber of your competition, the caliber of the guys that you're playing with, everything that happens, I guess, during your high school career, as well as for these guys, basically the top 100 are all, give or take, all selected to appear in one of the 2 major all-star games. And they have people at both those games watching practices, watching the demeanor. And I made a comment to somebody last night. I was like, if it's an equal competition between, 2 5-star guys, and I have a chance to get to know these guys, I am going to upvote. I am going to rate the people who are stronger citizens, let's just say, ahead of guys who maybe put off bad signals or a little sketchy in those all-star situations, have those prima donna, tendencies. So that's just my personal preference, because I think you're going to go a lot farther with the guys who are solid citizens and take care of their business than you are with somebody who's always, shaking their head or got their hand out or wondering, what are you all doing for me today or whatever. So I think that there is a component to that is definitely worthwhile. But, come back all the way around the bend. Ohio State's got a very good class for 2019. Mark, we crunched the numbers. I did an entire scholarship breakdown the last 2 days on Ohio State's offense and their defense. And we found when we added it up, they were at 85 scholarships if they're able to hold on to West Virginia standout Doug Nestor. He is committed to Ohio State but did not sign with the Buckeyes. He's from Spring Valley High School, which is, I believe, near Charleston, West Virginia, I believe. And he made an official visit to Ohio State last week, and the coaching change had him a little bit concerned about what was going to happen with Greg Studrawa, his offensive line coach. But Studrawa has been retained at Ohio State. So he took an official visit to Ohio State last weekend. He's going to see Penn State this coming weekend, and then Virginia Tech on February the 2nd. We hear that his home state school, West Virginia, with their new staff, has also reached out to him as well in trying to put together an attractive package to get him to look at West Virginia a little bit as well. So it sounds like there could be suspense on signing day as to whether or not, which would be the second signing day, February the 6th, whether or not Ohio State will be holding on to Doug Nestor. He is ranked as the nation's 106 prospect, just outside the top 100, but would be a difference maker, no question. When we did that breakdown of the scholarship spots, Ohio State only had 12 offensive linemen on scholarship. I think he would make 13 if he sticks with Ohio State. And the Buckeyes have honestly had a couple more offensive linemen, one in for a visit this past week. This guy, DeWand Jones from Indianapolis, Ben Davis High School, 6'8", 360 pounds. He sounds like an offensive tackle to me, Mark. I don't know. He was at Ohio State last weekend. He's going to go to Penn State this weekend. He's also visited USC, so it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, if he ends up signing with Ohio State. And then one more guy who'll be in this weekend from the Aloha State. He's from, I got to pronounce this right, Kahuka. I think it's Kahuka, Hawaii is his hometown. Enoch, E-N-O-K-K, Vimahi, V-I-M-A-H-I, ranked as the nation's number 124 prospect. He's made visits already to Notre Dame, Oklahoma, and USC, which USC may have the inside track on him. He's going to visit Ohio State this weekend. And what a great weekend for a guy from Hawaii to come to Ohio State when the wind chills are going to be probably about 20 degrees. And we had about 3 inches of snow on the ground. It melted. It was 50 degrees here yesterday. It rained, and now it's back down in the 20s, and we've got an inch of snow back on the ground already today. So the weather in Ohio is crazy, and you just wonder what a kid from Hawaii is going to think when he comes all the way, probably 10 hours by flight or more, to Columbus, Ohio, to see what Ohio State is all about. But Ryan Day and his staff, and Greg Studarawa, and Mike Yursich, the new offensive coordinator, Kevin Wilson, the co-coordinator, they will put all of their emphasis on Enoch Vamahi from Kahuka, I think that's pronounced right, Kahuka, Hawaii, nation's number 124 prospect overall. And they are making a complete emphasis to rebuild depth on that offensive line, as we talked about. They did have one more development this past week. They got Jacob James, a 2020 prospect from Cincinnati Elder High School down in Cincinnati, a couple hours away. And to me, I think Ryan Day is trying to get back to where Ohio State puts that fence up around the state of Ohio and gets a lot of the top guys from the state to end up at Ohio State.